Hey YouTube, it is Tech Talk with HEXrayVision, Rags to Riches, David Feeder, special guest, Wendy's for Tendies today. I've missed you guys. I've been out of town for a few weeks and just couldn't wait to get back on here and get nerded up with all the questions about tech, the testnet, what's going on. So we'll do a countdown and we'll be right back. Hey kids, what's happening?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We should steal everybody's intro right now. What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
Finger.
everybody!
And we're live.
And we're live. We'll just take what we want from the community. I got Rick Schmitz in the comments already, and Lely Flawless or Lele. Flawless, go. What's up, guys? So, wow, we haven't been together in 3 weeks now? Do we get 3 or 4 weeks without a tech talk?
It's been 3 or 4 weeks without a tech talk.
Yeah, it's they've been fiending for this good nerd stuff, mostly fiending for David Feeder's beard. A lot of people hit me up and say they need their Feeder beard fix. And I want to welcome Wendy's for Tendies. We're really glad you could make it to your first tech talk. Welcome.
Yeah, happy to be here.
What do we have on the plate for today, HEXray?
Well, we got there's a lot of stuff that's been happening since we've been, having fun in Vegas and traveling and shirking our responsibilities. We got, obviously, we're going to be talking about the Pulsechain Testnet V2b or not to be. So let's dive right into that and just see if we can keep up with the comments this time, because last time they got way ahead of us. So if you guys want your questions answered, get them in the comments early in the show, because towards the end, we may not catch up.
I guess the first thing we could talk about is it going down today, right? Richard said it was down. Is it still down? Or is
it's broken right now. Yep,
yeah.
It is totally dead. I'm in the private dev chat with all the validators and stuff.
Do they know what it is?
Not yet.
Gotcha.
Nope.
Well, see, this is one thing, right? So, I made a Twitter post, basically good morning to everyone except those who say when pulse. It's like, guys, these things take time, right? And we want them to do it right. How happy would everybody be if we had launched it, but then the blockchain's down for a day, down for 2 days? That's the kind of stuff we want to avoid. So I don't care if it takes another 6 months, if they get it right. That's the number one thing, is we want this to be smooth. We want it to be right. You can only launch once. YOLO, you can only launch once. Let's launch correct. Let's come correct. Let's bring the heat. And, we want to set a good trend, for what's right, the right way to do things in blockchain. So, launching stuff and then having all the jokes, everybody saying, oh, it's unplugged. Oh, someone tripped over the plug. We want to avoid all that stuff. So there's no rush, right, when you're dealing with perfection. So.
Yeah, well said, because we don't want this to happen in mainnet. We're not going to pull a Solana. Once the mainnet's up, it better not go down. So you're 100% correct.
Yeah, it's but you're seeing it so much. It's everybody, when 2b's announced, right? They're all saying oh God, 2 weeks and we'll be live, and then something like this happens. So it's everybody's just putting the cart before the horse. Let's make sure that I'd like to see a month or two of no bugs, no nothing. With the final spec. We're not there yet. So, take a step back. We are seeing more developments regularly, more screenshots, a lot of things to get people excited. So, it's cool to be excited, but don't rush it. don't be the kid in the backseat. Are we there yet? Right? Because that's annoying as hell.
Indeed.
Yeah, there's plenty of that on Twitter. Shout out to Heinz Crypto. He's in the chat. Goldman Hex is on the way to a hot date. That's way better than a cold date. We got Tin Top, Christy Naya, 720. The gang's all here, so awesome. Tin Top says we just want to see those sweet testnet servers working away behind David. It says you're saving electricity right now since they're down. So
actually, they're still running lols. It's just like no block found. It's just they're just freaking out. It's kind of funny actually.
Awesome.
Can you comment? I guess like some people have been saying that people were like, I'm seeing like people saying like, oh, people were scammed on testnet. Can you speak on any of that?
Yeah, I think that was my fault. I made a video last night because some I forget his name already. It's in the video. He tweeted out the settings for V2b.
Gotcha.
And he had a right there was a contract address for PulseX. Turns out it was a scam address. And if you go to the block explorer, it looks just like PulseX and it has the most coins minted. And yeah, it's like right on the block explorer. So I totally fell for it in the video and I put it in the Metamask. And yeah, it's a bullshit coin. So Richard tweeted out the correct address for the PulseX coins. And then I made a follow-up video showing people how they can remove it from Metamask and put in the correct one. So yeah, totally happened.
Yeah, I tweeted out your video. That was required homework for all you guys that want to learn more about what's going on and watch David Feeder do a tutorial on setting things up and playing with them on there. And those were mostly the validator nodes that you were playing with, correct?
I showed how in MetaMask how to connect to the V2b, and then I was showing how to add the coins.
Perfect.
So, yep.
But I mean, that's a good point though, right? Like in blockchain, you got to be really, really diligent because even somebody like you can make the mistake, right? Of you know, putting in the wrong thing. Like things look right, and it's like the scammers, they go to new bounds, you know, every single time. They're always having to you know, come up with new ways to take money from people. So you really just got to be on edge at all times.
Yeah, trust no one. Yeah, not me, not nobody. Yeah, the only person we could trust is Richard, right? His tweets are the official. So absolutely.
Yep.
Right. And someone has an unexpected issue when estimating the gas popping up. That could just because the whole thing's down right now. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, testnet is totally broken right now. You can't. I got stuck transactions. They're not happening. PulseX testnet is like the test app is down. Yeah, everything's broken.
Awesome. And then Crypto Heartbeat says, why is Rags on the stream eye candy? And then he scared him away. He scared that away. And now we're one ginger down, according to Finbear. This is where the gingers conjugate. So yeah, that's cool. And 720, it was good to meet you in Vegas, digging this panel. So going back to the testnet and the things you've been working with, Richard tweeted that he said, if you guys see a bug, that's what this whole testnet's about. It's about reporting the bug, and if you have any actions or ways to fix the bug, then please, you know, obviously present those as well, right?
Yeah, correct, exactly.
So that's what we're doing right now is we're digging through bugs, we're having stuff stop and start and get hung up. And that's what we're supposed to be seeing, you know.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, guys. Like,
yeah,
if you've ever built anything, software is hard.
Yeah, and what are you guys' takeaways from Vegas? I saw Rags did a little video. K4K's got a great video of takeaways from Vegas, and I agreed with him, which was mostly there wasn't a lot of inside information in Vegas, but there was a lot of really good networking. And at the same time, we had just like when you meet more and more Hexicans in person and you see how cool and intelligent and motivated they are about this, it's like really gives you a lot of motivation and hope for this community. I don't know, what was your guys' takeaways from Vegas?
I wasn't at the conference, But I would say, yeah, it's all about networking and, you know, meeting other like-minded people. And I felt the same way, you know, when I was in London. You know, Richard was on stage. There was people singing songs. RG3 was talking pop. I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear a single thing because I was busy, like, you know, going person to person, meeting different hexagons, and just talking, sharing stories, sharing experiences, talking about Pulsechain, you know, all these things. And it's really the community that makes us, you know, so strong and stuff. And it's funny because it's like I have a guy that I know from another crypto community, and he was like wanting to like fork Hex, you know, because he was like, oh, Hex is, you know. I was like, bro, there's no point, because he's like, well, if the code's, and I was like, it's not just the code, man, it's like the community, it's Richard, it's like everything together. I mean, like other people have tried. It's like, I was like, don't waste your time. I was like, you know, build something else. And I was like, you know me, man, I'm like, I'm your boy, but I won't support it, you know. And it's, you know, it's the reason is like the community is just so strong with us. And yeah, it's something, you know, I've made lifelong friends because of Hex. You know, my company exists because of Hex. I mean, it's, you know, Richard Hart's like literally changed my life. And yeah, I'm just so bullish on the community, meeting other people who are building stuff. You know, I'm building stuff. Yeah, I think the next few years are just going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's something that I said when I got a chance to go up on stage, was you can copy everything in crypto except for the community. Yep. You can't copy paste this community. It's really where a lot of the power and the ideas and the secret sauce is, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I appreciate that. What about you, David? What did you take away from Vegas?
Oh man, kind of what you guys did. I mean, really, it was meeting everybody. That was the best part, is getting to finally, you know, put faces to the names that I see on Twitter or Telegram. You know, a lot of these people have been chatting with them for years, and now we actually get to hang out together and, you know, give each other a hug and talk. And that was amazing. I loved it. I thought the convention was great as well. I thought the talks were fantastic. I got more stage time than I deserved, and I had a blast. I loved it. It was so much fun. Meeting Aubrey DeGray was really great. Me and Maddie have been helping those guys out a little bit recently. Sadly, I missed yesterday's conference call. I feel really bad about that, but you know, now that Aubrey's kind of been cleared of all charges, so to speak, like we're working to help get him back into the Sens Foundation. You know, that's what the sacrifice for Pulsechain was for. You know, if you donated to Sens, you wanted Aubrey to, you know, build life-changing tech, and they kicked him out and stole all the money. So we're going to try to get it back. So that's cool. That came out of that. And yeah, man, I mean, it was a wonderful time. I loved it.
Awesome. I would say comparing the June meetup in Vegas to this last one in Vegas, the biggest difference I saw was a much different demographic than we had. So back in June, there was, you know, mostly 20 to 30-year-old males, and that was great because they were all excited about Hex. But this conference had a lot more couples, a lot more age ranges, and a lot more females, which is great because the more we can grow and the more people we can reach with our demographics, the better, right?
Hex has like the most females in crypto by far. Like it's like orders of magnitude higher.
Yeah, there's one picture on Twitter. My wife's in there, and a bunch of the females when they went down to Fremont Street and were dancing and hanging out in Fremont Street. And I saw that group of like, there's got to be like 15 girls in that picture, and I thought that's more girls than the rest of crypto combined, right there in that one picture. You know, let alone all the other females that couldn't make it. So yeah, for sure. We're definitely winning the community awards, so to speak.
Definitely.
So, what was your takeaway from Vegas there, Rags?
Do not hang out with you or your wife. And if you can get a picture with Feeder, it's rare. Just snap it as soon as you possibly can, because he clicks his heels twice and he ends up at the MGM Grand until 4 a.m.
Yeah, I am known for a good Irish exit. That is true.
I had a great time, man. It's a cool place, and I'm looking forward to going back in September. So we might even have a little maybe Rags and somebody that Rags knows might throw a little rooftop party somewhere. You never know. That might be fun, man.
Yeah, maybe something like a secret password to get onto the elevator to head up to the rooftop.
We'll tell one person about the party. The only way you get in is through word of mouth. We'll see what happens. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
God, that was like that dinner we had at the top of Mandalay Bay. It took me like an hour to find the door to get to the elevator to get to the top.
So that one wasn't even like secret and he couldn't find it.
Yeah, he was texting me like, here, go here, do this. I barely even made it. That was awesome, by the way. Thank you for dinner. That was wonderful.
Oh, that was great. A great view. You could see all of Vegas from up there. We tried taking Rags up there later, but they were closed. So we'll have to do it in September. There's a bunch of ideas I got for September.
It's going to be fun.
So, Jeremiah Johnson was asking, is David planning to run his validator on this testnet? And you were running it on this testnet, right?
But I'm working on it today. Right now, the blockchain is broken, but I was literally working on upgrading to the latest version 2b. So yeah, I am working on it.
Yeah, people are complaining about the background music. When attempting to swap, I see the error on. Yeah, they're still talking about the unexpected issue when estimating the gas, which is part of that going down.
It's broken.
Krista Knight says, "Go females, go." Yeah. Bet thanks for nothing. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but a lot of love here in the chat.
Hey, we met Susie out there in Vegas.
Yeah, Susie Q.
Yep, very cool. She was on stage too. I think she even got to talk to Richard, which is awesome.
Yeah, and Hexcan Chief from New Zealand. What's cracking? Long time no hear. Yeah, I met him on the Hex Foodies group, so it'll be interesting to see the Hex Foodies group and some of the other small subsets inside the Hex community grow this year. So anyways, well, let's take down the music because we did have one complaint. So we'll just turn that off. But let's get back into the testnet questions. Who's got some questions in the chat about the testnet or anything else tech related, nerd related, code related?
I don't know. I think that I think that people are they're starting to get a little excited, man. They're starting to get a taste of what's to come, and I think that we're going to start seeing. I think we're going to start seeing the charts reflect as such. But even when Richard announced V2b, like I wanted to drop everything and just go and try it out and add it and see what's up. And I got people in my Telegram chat and they're talking about, oh, my sacrifice balances. This is so cool. And I'm getting texts from people and the energy's kind of elevating a little bit. So this is going to be a really, really cool year, folks. It's going to be really fun. And I'm very excited to kind of share that with everybody except for HEXray. And I'm excited, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, like, if you've ever done yield farming, even interacting with different DeFi protocols that do different types of yield farming, there's always a lot of risk that is associated with them, right? So this is like probably the first time on a grand scale that you're going to have, possibly the biggest yield farming, option that's actually safe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, that's not to be taken lightly, because if you're talking, some people yield farm with like a couple $1,000s, but if you're putting big money up there, you want to be safe, right? So this is the first time that's going to be a thing. So I'm super excited. I mean, the whole thing, transacting for cheap, it's the dream, right? It brings me back to like the old days of ETH when I was like first transacting, for like sub pennies, and you're just like, man, this is the future. This is the future. So, since then, obviously, people I know have, wanted to get into Hex, get into other things. And especially months ago, the gas fees weren't, anything for me. So all my personal onboards, I'd be like, yo, how much, hex do you want? Yada, yada. And I would just OTC them, right? I would pay the gas and all that because gas wasn't a big deal for me. But for somebody, if they're paying $20 to $70, $100 something dollars, $200 something dollars, right? Like that's kind of hard, especially when you're only buying 500, $1,000 of coin. So, to be able to do that sub penny, maybe 10,000th of it, I was calculating what I think that the initial transactions are going to be. And we're talking like 1,000 to 10,000th of a penny. I mean, that's massive. Like people don't even realize that it's essentially free to transact on Pulse to start. So yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, right. Like $1 will last you like a year's worth of gas at that
crazy.
price. Right.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's like, and what does that do, right? That opens up like tons of innovation, right? Things that were, ideas on Ethereum early on, that got priced out, just didn't make sense. Now you're going to be able to see them on Pulse. One of the dApps that I really, really loved on Pulsechain was called Pool Together. I don't know if you guys ever used that, but it was probably like one of the first like DeFi things. And so the idea behind it was that you could essentially buy like a lottery ticket, right? And so like, let's say each ticket was $1, right? So you put $1, you buy this lottery ticket, well, you have it forever. And the pool of all of the lottery tickets would essentially like yield farm, make return, and the reward would be paid in interest. So you buy one ticket for $1 and you have a lottery ticket for life, right? And so a lot of poor people play the lottery. If you've ever been poor and you know people that are poor, they like to play the lottery, right? So it's a way to get people to to trick them, right? Because poor people play the lottery because they want to make money, and but the lottery is really just a tax on the poor, right? Because the odds are so bad. Well, the Pool Together essentially will let you build a savings account because you also get an APY on that also, other than the lotto ticket. You get like a small APY as well. And so it's basically like a savings account, and then they're incentivized because they're like, oh, now I have $1,000 in there. And then like for some people, that might be the first time that they ever saved $1,000 because every week they just go to the, to get like the $5 scratch offs and they never have any money. So it's a way for them to save money, earn some yield, and then potentially also have that benefit of, maybe winning the lottery in the future. So it's like little things like that. You can't do that when gas is multiple dollars, right? Like it doesn't make sense to pay $20 for a gas fee to get a $5 in lottery tickets, right? So yeah. I'm excited for all the innovation that's going to come, and it's going to be amazing.
We had a mention in the comments about people watching the ratio between Pulse and PulseX on the Uniswap on Testnet V2, and they're watching it, drop and go, and a lot of people are trying to take away what they think the price and the ratio is going to be between those two coins when it comes out, which, I mean, who knows what's going to happen when both of those come out, right?
Yeah. Shout out to David K, whose comment you had down below. I actually hung out with him a couple days at the convention. Really cool dude. And I'm going to say yes, right? To his question, is the price of PulseX on mainnet going to drop as fast as it did last night on V2b? Probably, maybe. I think people are going to sell their PulseX for Pulsechain. So I would expect it for sure.
There's going to be at least a fraction of people, a percentage of people that do that, because that's been a narrative for a while. It's like everybody was too late, and then you heard Richard say that people that sacked late for Pulsechain are going to get PulseX, so now they're definitely going to swap it. So yeah, it probably will crash against Pulse.
Terrafin's only 25 minutes late, so way to go, Terrafin.
He's slipping, man. He's been slipping lately.
And Daniel Polk says a Sunday show raid. We did get a jump of about 20 people, so I'm not sure where they came from, but welcome all. That's awesome. Colin Jackson is obviously behind because we already turned off the music that reminds him of his favorite Disney movies. Hex Live says, get him. So when is the earliest for Pulsechain? I'm hearing for it. So all right. So back to the old
when Pulsechain. Oh god.
When Pulsechain. I like I said,
rewind to the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
But if you had to guess for fun, what's your speculation?
I'm guessing June. Like if it happens by June, I'll be happy.
Okay.
You know,
I like that.
I don't want to get my hopes up before June-ish, but who knows, right? And then I was talking to someone there in Vegas, and I think it was Hex Farmer I was talking to, and he didn't think that we were going to experience a crash when Pulsechain goes live like we experienced during the sacrifice phases and the big payday. And of course, I expect there to be a spike on the news and a crash when everyone in crypto tries to front run everything. Like people would front run their mom out of Walmart during a fire if they could in crypto. It's ridiculous. And so like as soon as we think it's going live, you're going to see everyone front running the buys. And then when they think it's about to go, before it launches, I think we'll see another big crash like we did 3 times. But Hex Farmer's theory was that because everyone's going to be up so many X from the sacrifice on Pulse and PulseX, that will hold the Hex price up on both chains. And it's an interesting theory. I still think people are going to, smash and grab like they always do in crypto.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think like mid to long term, yes, of course, Hex is going to do amazing, and it's going to be like we don't know this, but likely if Pulse or PulseX is a main liquidity pair for Hex, then the deflationary nature, and then of course them starting off low, and the the meteoric rise that they're probably going to see. I mean, think about if it's a 10,000x, it's going to drag Hex up with it. Not to mention, I know a lot of the biggest people who sacked in both Pulse and PulseX, right? And these guys want more T-shares. Okay, so if they see a 10,000x in Pulse or PulseX, they're going to rotate that probably into Hex on the Pulse chain and get more T-shares. That's just how these guys are. They love their T-shares. They love getting paid every month, and the yield is not going to compare. So like a Pulse chain yield from delegating is not going to compare to the APY in Hex, right? And then the side benefit is that Hex protects you from yourself. I know there would have been many people that are going to sell a 10x, a 100x, a 1000x. How many are going to hold a 10,000x? Probably only the sharks and dolphins that learned from not being able to sell. What kind of gains, somebody that's just, broke, and they, as soon as they get a taste of like a small taste of freedom, they're going to just take it. So, I expect it to be much more volatile. I think that the game theory and everything will play out, and they'll do great. But yeah, like anybody thinking that like Hex is done or whatever, like they just don't understand crypto. Like it's gonna still do numbers.
Yeah, Rags is a big fan of my analogies, so let me share an analogy with you guys.
Oh God,
here.
Incoming. Here it goes.
So you've seen the videos where the guy leaves the cash register open, like at a gas station, and people will reach over and grab cash out of the cash register and run out the door. And the funny ones are when the door closes on them. But basically, crypto is just a bunch of people reaching over the counter, grabbing all the money they can, and sprinting out the door. But they don't realize they own that gas station. They're just so freaked out, like you said, when they get their first taste of freedom, their first like 2x, 3x, and they're not ready for that money. The sudden wealth syndrome is real. And so they'll, like you said, they'll sell on a 10x, 100x, 1000x, and pat themselves on the back and party. And then it's just, the price is just going to keep going, right? So that's what I assume is going to keep happening. Sorry, go ahead.
I had a friend early on in Hex, and he had probably like 500 million coins, and he sold like probably 80-90% of them to get a house, like in the early days of Hex. It was COVID and all that, and he lost his job, and he bought himself a nice house, paid cash for it and stuff. This was early in Hex too. Like, let me tell you, this is early. So like he hit me up probably, I don't know, now it's probably like 7 months ago or something, and he goes, man, tendies, like, my God, can you imagine if I held? I said, yeah, bro, like I told you, but like you were emotional because of the losing your job and everything like that, and yeah, that's what happens. It's going to happen in Pulsechain too. Like, it's going to happen more so because of the no locking feature. So it's cool though.
Yeah.
Like volatility is good for people that know how to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Shout out to Jamie and Nick in Vegas. We caught an Uber X ride with them one night, and Rags kept calling the driver. The driver's name was Sullivan. He kept calling him, what was it, Timothy?
Yeah, Timothy or something. I didn't know his name. So,
And
when
then
you
you
don't
tried
know-
to wile him with stories of Somalia. The whole time we were in there, he's like,
They were
one
true,
time in
and
Somalia.
it was Cameroon, not Somalia. They were completely true stories. And yeah, that was one heck of a time. And here's a little hint. If you don't know somebody's name, competently name them a random name and keep talking, and then they'll correct you and give you their name. It's funny too. Some people get offended, but most people don't. So it's a good way to break the ice. So yeah, Solomon, thanks.
Yeah. Hex Live is guessing 3 weeks as far as a timeline.
Yeah, good luck with that, bro.
I mean, think about it like this. Do you want it to be out in 3 weeks? It's not working right now. It's down. Do you
Right.
want it in 3 weeks? Like, is that good for your back? Like, this is the thing that I'm talking about. It's like people are so impatient. You know, when people say this kind of stuff, it just tells me like you're not going to make it, bro. You're not. If you need this thing to be out like yesterday, then tell me like how are you going to hold 1,000x? You have no patience.
For sure, for sure. And Tendy, you've been around the game a lot longer than most, Hexkins that got in with Richard Hart. Is that right? Like you've been in crypto
I was in
for
crypto
a while.
Yeah, dude, I was in like when I didn't like Richard Hart, like because I was like an ETH maxi, right? And Richard talks shit about ETH. And it was funny because I was listening to like Dixon Piper. He has like a new YouTube channel. He was talking about how he listens to Tone Vays because Tone Vays has said some like contrarian things, and he's like, I don't like the guy, but he says contrarian things, and I think that's important to listen to. And that was my mentality with Richard when Richard was a BTC maxi, and I was like, bro, ETH is so much better than BTC, but I still listen to Richard, and like thank God I did, because I knew about like Hex when it was being developed and stuff, and yeah, here I am. But yeah, and the funny thing is like we had to wait a long time for Hex, a long time, so it's the same thing, and guess what? It was worth the wait. Thank God. Imagine if he launched it 50% faster, but then there was like a bug or an issue. Like, what would that have done to us? Like do things right the first time.
How long was Hex?
Learn
How long
patience,
did y'all
guys.
wait?
Well,
It was a
he
long
said
time.
he
2 years,
guessed
man.
it was 2 years.
Yeah,
He
I was there
thought-
the whole time. Yeah,
Richard said we ought to wrap this up in 6 months when he started working on it. He's like, yeah, it'll be easier. You just program interest and a time lock. How hard could it be? And then 2 years later, we were like, oh my God, it finally launched. December. It was the end of December, right? No,
It was
December
like
19th. December
2019.
19th, 2019.
Yep. And we waited
Yeah.
2 years since that.
Oh,
It was
man, that's crazy.
2017 when he had the idea.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we
We were
yeah.
just waiting and following, and
You're like 4 more weeks, guys. 4
that's
more
why
weeks.
that's why we aped into day one and bought a ton of Hex at, what was it, a third of a penny or a fifth of a penny or a half
Yes.
of a penny? I mean,
Let's not talk about that,
yeah, I put a ton of money in on day one.
dude. It was painful. It was really painful. It was really, really painful. That first drop was very disheartening.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Tiago Durante. The incentive token should be named 4MW for 4 more weeks. Good one. And then we got
Yeah, that's another thing, right? Is like we don't have a name for the incentive. We don't even have a name for the incentive token yet. He hasn't really talked much about it. Like, is there going to be any game theory? Yeah, I mean,
Did you see the
I
top
think there's
tokens
some time still
with
Yeah.
the incentive token at $18.34?
Let's go.
Yeah. PulseX, it has PulseX at 0.0003063, wrapped Pulse 306, Hex 25 cents, Hedron 5 or 6 years and a 6.
Nice.
I hope that he does. Nobody asked him in the last spaces. I was hoping somebody was going to ask him about the incentive token, but I think there's things like I thought of an idea for like a burning mechanism for the incentive token that even if Richard doesn't come up with it, like we can as a community. So I think it'll be good. But yeah, I'd like to see like him add some kind of pumpamental for it.
Yeah, shout out to the dad joke here from Tin Top. He tried yield farming, but eventually he lost interest. Wah, 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 wah.
Got him.
And then Inviting Freedom is in the chat. Shout out to Inviting Freedom. I know you've been here for a while, but I wanted to give you a shout out. Big fan of DFed and
What's up, girl?
Wendy's.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Were you here earlier, Rags, when Crypto Heartbeat called you eye candy?
Eye candy.
Yeah, he said, "Why is Rags on this stream? Eye candy."
But
now he wants an invite to the secret rooftop party.
Word of mouth only. He better hopes he hears it from somebody, but we're not sending out invites. It's word of mouth only with coordinates.
Yeah. David Lee's listening from the garden. HEXrayVision says we get a 10x. He's gonna blast off. Well, okay, that's inappropriate. Tin Top. Yeah, PulseX will dump for Pulse. I'm maybe gonna buy Hex for my PulseX.
If the incentive token,
I want more B shares.
The incentive token details come out, and it's really, really advantageous to keep PulseX. Maybe that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Shout out to Hex McKenzie. Yeah. You should join us. Jump on stream with us, Hex McKenzie. Hex is 100% done, but in a good way. If you don't like it now, you'll love it at $100. I second that. Davis is in the chat. Yo. He found you, Rags.
I know. He always finds me.
Awesome. And there was something else I was going to bring up, but I've been distracted by chat. So you guys take it from here, and I'll look for another good question here in chat.
Yeah. But what do you think, Feeder? You think that last statement I made, if it's advantageous to hold PulseX because you're getting something very, very beneficial with the incentive token, it's kind of like you're getting a twofer, right? You're going to get PulseX anyway. You can put it to work for you in a big way. It'd be interesting.
Do we know that though? Do we know that for sure?
No, we don't. We do not.
I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, to me, it does not make sense to give an incentive token to PulseX stakers. I think that so the way I was understanding it was that you would stake your PulseX to get essentially like the buy and burn or something, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, we're gonna have to see. I think maybe it'll work similar to like the way XBoo works, Boo and XBoo, but I think that the incentive token should just go to so if you have PulseX and you want the incentive token, then you would create a pair PulseX Pulse, PulseX USDC, PulseX Hex. Like those are ways to get the incentive token, but just staking doesn't make sense to me. I think that would be bad for the overall ecosystem.
How so?
Because there's going to be, so we already know like how much money was sacrificed for PulseX, and the whole point is to bring liquidity. That is the purpose of an incentive token, is to get people that have millions of dollars in other coins and bring them from Ethereum to PulseX, right? Because they might have like pairs, like let's say I have $5 million in USDC, $5 million on DAI on a pair on Uniswap. The whole point is to incentivize them, because they're not getting an incentive token over there, to bring liquidity, to vampire liquidity over. If we give a lot of the token to PulseX stakers, that doesn't siphon liquidity. So you really want to give it to people to siphon users over, because that's going to benefit the whole system more. And if you want the incentive token, then sure, use your PulseX, create a pair, and get the incentive token. But the buy and burn alone is enough of an incentive to keep your PulseX. Like, you don't need double. Like that in my opinion, that's people like being greedy, trying to get 10 cents and giving away $1.
I think it would be interesting to see somebody model out doing both, because on one hand, you're going to siphon off liquidity from other places. But on the other hand, if you did incentivize people, maybe with not quite as strong of a reward to just stake, but that would also potentially hold up price pretty well.
Think about it like this though: the more liquidity you siphon, and the more incentive there is for people to trade, the more PulseX gets burned.
Right. It would, in my mind, you would get a whole lot more incentive to do that. but could they not coexist?
Think about it like this. Think about it like this. Look at the top wallets. Look how much they have. If they were to stake and get any decent APY on the incentive token, it would nuke so hard. There wouldn't be enough to incentivize the other pools. What's most important is getting the TVL very high, because that's what's going to be that. Speaking from someone I've liquidity farmed with many millions, and I can tell you right now, the thing that's brought me to other chains, I wasn't interested in Matic until, guess what? I was going to get paid $100,000 a month to bridge money over to Matic, and then when I start getting paid incentive tokens, hundreds of thousands a month, that's when I start bringing money over. That money goes away. I've left other ecosystems. So that's what's going to bring the money. And I just speak from experience. Like if Matic had some kind of think about like PulseX, or let's say like it was like quick swap token and it had some staking thing, and if the majority of the people were getting money in the incentive token from like quick swap, like that doesn't benefit me. I'm bringing my USDC over, and the other thing is like that's the whole point, right? The whole point of PulseX is to have liquidity. If nobody brings stuff over, then there's nothing to trade, Like people don't want to have huge slippage on USDC. The whole point is that you want to see people doing multi-million-dollar trades, paying that fee in PulseX and burning PulseX. So the number one thing is getting liquidity over there, and then bringing users over there so that the constant trades are burning Pulse and PulseX. We're already over there, right? PulseX users, if you have PulseX, you're already a user. We want to bring adoption.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm going to keep pressing in on this. That makes complete sense. And what would be the disadvantage of having both again? What are you saying the disadvantage is? Because I'm not saying it's one or the other.
Yeah, I understand. So essentially, I think that if you just have, I think it would be better to, let's say that staking PulseX would give you 10% interest, and then maybe they get 5% or whatever on USDC or 10%. It would be better to give 0, right? And to incentivize all the other pairs, PulseX,
give
PulseX,
more money,
Pulse,
give more money to
give
the
more
people
money
providing
to
the liquidity. Okay, that makes sense.
Because that's way more incentive for them to bridge money over. Because think about it, if you have a pool and you're just sitting there and like you're getting some decent fees or whatever, you're like, man, I'm cool. But if there's real incentive to go over there, you're talking, like I said, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for some people. They're like, okay, let me learn Pulse. Because they have to say, okay, what is this RPC? I have to change my Metamask. Like it takes effort to go over there, right? So there has to be some incentive. If they get over there and then they're realizing like, oh my God, I'm doing these swaps at a 10,000th of a penny, like it's pretty fast, right? Then they start liking it, right? And then they say, oh, what is this PulseX token? Maybe they buy some of it, right, with the incentive token. Like the whole thing is that we make them fall in love with you pay them well, right? It's like the same thing with employees, right? You can underpay employees or you can pay employees well. When you pay employees well, they do better work for you. They appreciate you. They maybe talk about your business, right? They share the love. So I think it's one of those situations where it's like there's enough, right? The buy and burn. I mean, if you ever listen to like a K4K video, right? Like you can get so bullish on PulseX without the incentive token, right? You're talking about what K4K said. If we get to like $1 billion in volume, you're talking about like $600,000 a day buy and burn. Like why do we need an incentive token if you have, you know what I'm saying? If you have that kind of buy and burn, it's deflationary. Like these things just click with people's head. So to me, the best thing that we can do is get the liquidity, get the users, get the trading up. And hexagons are winning nonstop, right? Because if we have more incentive token to potentially pay suppliers, right? Well, that's less incentive for somebody to dump EHEX, right? Because you can provide EHEX and PHEX, right? Well, we know that Hart's law says that if there's enough liquidity, right, the rising tide lifts all ships, right? So like if PHEX is going up, it lifts EHEX with it if the liquidity is binded there. So the incentive token is what will cause the incentive for those people to do those pairs and for the rising tide to lift all the Pulsechain ships. And I just think that we're just constantly winning in that scenario. We probably all have Pulse here, and most of the people listening are either have Pulse or they're going to get it. And so people bridging money over, people doing swaps, people trading in the ecosystem, it just benefits us. We're just killing it nonstop. There, you know, of course you could always say like, yeah, I want more, right? But I think in this case, like it's unnecessary.
You just don't want to dilute the incentive. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
All right, that was the piece I was trying to understand your argument, and that was the piece that I was missing. So thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, no problem.
Do you guys have any experience on the one-sided liquidity providing that you can do on V3 but not on V2?
I do not.
Because I believe that on V3 you can provide liquidity for one side. You don't have
so you
to
can
do both.
Yeah, essentially you can do limit orders. You know, the interesting thing is that potentially when Pulsechain comes out, the thing with Uniswap V3 is it's like patented but it was only patented for I believe 2 years. So by the time Pulsechain comes out, like if Pulsechain comes out in the summer and stuff, we could only have 1 year of essentially having the V2 Uniswap, you know, fork, and then after that, Richard could basically enable V3, which would now enable single-sided orders and stuff, and it is really cool the way that those orders work. One cool thing about V2 is that there is a lot of incentive for projects to do the liquidity farming and stuff. So the way Uniswap V3 works is it's an NFT, and NFTs are unique, right? So you can't really give essentially like staking rewards. But like, let's say I make a token, right? And I have a community and I say, okay, well, if you provide liquidity for my token, I will incentivize you by paying you this token as a reward, right? So what happens is I go on Uniswap, V2, I make a pair. And what happens is that when you provide liquidity, you get a LP token in response. And that LP token represents how much of the position you have. So maybe it's 100,000 USDC, 100,000 HEX. So you'll have this essentially placeholder in your wallet. And what you could do is like if you had a project, you could be like, okay, so what you do is you go to my website, you stake that liquidity token on the website, and then you get more inflation from that coin that you could, use, and they use that to offset impermanent loss and stuff like that. But it can get TVLs like very, very high for tokens that otherwise wouldn't get that. So it's like you don't even necessarily need to have like a sacrifice phase or like a money raise if you do something like that, because the community could essentially provide the liquidity themselves and then stake the token. So there's pros and cons with each. The bad part about V2 is that so when you're providing liquidity, you're providing the entire range to infinity. So you're providing 0 to infinity. Whereas like with V3, you set a range. So if you have $100,000 and $100,000, so you have a $200,000 position on V2, you're providing liquidity the entire range. So if a coin is trading at $1, the money, the $200,000 is only earning fees on a very, very small amount, because if the coin sells down to 50 cents, you're still earning fees. If the coin goes to $100, you're still getting fees. So it's literally the entire range to infinity. Versus V3, you could literally set the range to be 99 cents to $1.01. Which means that your entire $200,000 would be earning fees on the entire $200,000 on all trades in that small range, which could be a lot of money, like a lot, thousands and thousands of dollars a day.
So if you have a certain coin that's like your darling, or a coin that you're working on accumulating, you just put it all in on that one.
Well, again, so liquidity providing is an advanced feature. You have to really understand what you're doing. You have to understand because when you're providing liquidity, you are trading. Okay. So if I say, let's say I do $100,000 of USDC, $100,000 of Pulse. What am I saying when I provide that? I'm saying that if the price goes up, so when the price goes up on the token, so you have a dollar token and then you have Pulse. The price goes up on Pulse, what am I accumulating? I'm accumulating the coin that is worth less. So if the price goes up on Pulse, I am accumulating USDC and losing Pulse. And that's what impermanent loss is, because as the price goes up, I'm getting fees, but I'm accumulating more dollars. The dollars don't go up, right? Versus Pulse. So I would have made more money just holding Pulse than I would have earning fees. So who would that benefit, right? Maybe somebody has a lot of pulse and they say, well, there's no way I could ever sell this amount, right? So I'll provide liquidity, I'll get fees in the meantime, and then I'll basically be dollar costing out. But if you're like a small guy, it makes more sense to just hold your pulse, right? So the big guy might be like, okay, well, I can always like remove liquidity, and then when I remove the liquidity, I'll be removing dollars from the system. So it's like a way to dollar cost out. So if you don't really understand that, you could potentially have like a small amount of pulse, and then the price let's just say the price goes to $100, right? You're like, oh man, I had 100,000 pulse. I'm a billionaire. You're like, I'm so rich, right? And then you go to look at your position, and you're like, oh my God, it's all dollars. It's literally all dollars. I have all dollars and no pulse because the price went up so much. You literally dollar costed out of the pulse, from the entire range at like fractions of a penny all the way to $100.
Yeah. A lot of people don't not understand that impermanent loss. So there will be a lot of plebs that get wrecked on PulseX providing liquidity.
Yep,
for sure.
So and again, like it's something that like it is beneficial to people just depending on what position you make, but you have to understand what position you're making, right? So like so for example, a good trade early on when liquidity farming would have been like ETH-matic, right? Because ETH-matic, both of the coins went up. Obviously, Matic went up more than ETH this cycle, right? So if you had ETH-matic, you were accumulating more ETH, okay? And you were selling more Matic, but both coins went up against US dollars. So you were winning regardless, even though you're accumulating ETH still did crazy numbers this cycle, right? ETH went from $88 to 4,900. So it's hard to say that you lost on that trade. But again, you have to know if you did it versus another altcoin, you could accumulate all of the altcoin that goes to zero, right? So like, you have to know what you're doing. It is an advanced feature. I don't recommend it for everybody, but for some people, it can be good. So you'd say like, why would anybody do USDC? Why would anybody do USDC Pulse when Pulse is going to go up so much? Okay, well, if you sacrificed $10 million of Pulse, right, you can never sell that amount of money. So maybe the best option for you is to provide liquidity, and then you could basically be taking fees and cashing out fees as time goes on, right? So it really just depends. But what's good for a whale might not be good for a small minnow. And actually, it probably wouldn't be, right? You have to have different strategies. So you really have to understand what you're doing.
So really, it's like automating buying the dip or taking profit either way, right? Like it's just automating that process instead of going and doing it manually.
Yeah, it's basically actively trading passively, if that makes any sense, So you have to understand what you're doing, because sometimes doing nothing is better, right? And for like a small guy, like I said, just hodling your pulse or delegating is potentially better than providing Pulse USDC, because you're going to be selling your Pulse before you want to, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the AMM, or the automatic market maker bot, is still hung up on trying to figure out how to copy the liquidity out of V3 because of the one-sided liquidity. Is that correct?
It's because of the NFTs. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I don't know if Richard alluded to it on the Twitter Spaces yesterday, but they may just end up skipping it. They may just leave it, and then
it's complicated stuff. I mean,
yeah.
And that's why, because when V3 came out, it literally changed the game. That's when like a lot of liquidity farming changed on Ethereum, because you couldn't do that anymore, and it kind of didn't make sense for because you can, like I said before, if you're trading a small range, you could potentially make so much more in fees. So it really did change the game, and no one has like solved that. The whole like V3 liquidity providing thing. So yeah, this is something new, and who knows if it's even solvable. So like David said, like it might be better for Richard to just like skip it.
Yeah. We got a question on the PulseX balance. Is it only reflecting ERC20 deposits, or is it supposed to be ERC20 and non-ERC20 total balance? Seems my non-ERC20 was accounted. I wonder if they're asking about the sacrifice phase, because that's the only reason you would see something that was non-ERC20 is
Like
if you
if you
sacrifice
sacrifice
something that
Bitcoin?
wasn't. Yeah, exactly. So
I don't know.
some people are seeing it and some people aren't.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that this is supposed to count for like 99%, but that's unverified. I don't know where I saw it. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, and then Christy Naya says, yeah, the numbers may not be accurate on some of the tokens or on some of the bonuses, so that's why it's still not registering. What's the word it said? It's still indexing. Is that the right word, David?
Well, that doesn't. Everybody's saying that, right? They're like, "Oh,
Right.
it's still indexing, and we can't see our coins yet."
It sounds legit.
That's just but that's wrong though. There's nothing fucking indexing except for the Block Explorer website, right? That's indexing. So like the
HEXlive,
website.
DM me, because actually, depending on what kind of bot you're talking about, I actually do need one for Pulsechain.
HEXlive is a dev, yeah.
And Tendies is giving a bunch of people nerdgasms here in the chat. They're just all
I keep
they're
up.
all screaming like, yeah, they're all singing hallelujah. Preach it, Wendy. So yeah, for sure. And I know there's more questions here. I'm just trying to go through there. I was trying to remember my question until I got a chance to ask it. Now we can go back to the chat. But if you guys have any other follow-up questions for Wendy's, go for it.
I just want to say real quick that the part that Wendy's described, where if you put in Pulsechain and you put in PulseX tokens as liquidity, and then you get this like LP token on PulseX right now on the test net, it works, and you get this LP token, and then you can stake that on the website, and you start gaining.
Right, exactly. That's how how a lot of the ones work. So that's just copying it from other, and like I said, like other projects could eventually do the same thing, but again, you don't have the same trust as you do with Richard. So your mileage may vary, but it's a beautiful thing. I'm so excited for the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, it's called PRT. It's actually called Party. So it's just some fake token that the devs made. Right, but that's
Party token.
Yeah, it's called Party. Yeah, so you get Party by staking your LP coins, and that's exactly how it works.
Oh, so that's what PRT is. Nice.
But yeah, to clarify for everybody, the alpha is, if I'm not going to tell you what position to make, but ideally, if you are going to provide liquidity, you want to pick two pairs that you believe will go up, because you're going to accumulate the lesser of those coins. So you need to make sure that the coin that you're accumulating is still one that's going up relative to whatever you measure in, right? If you're measuring in Bitcoin, if you're measuring in Hex, you want to make sure that that coin is performing well relative to your position.
Yep, totally.
Otherwise, you'll experience too much in permanent loss.
Yeah, because if you do like Pulsechain and PulseX, and we're going to pretend that PulseX is not worth as much over time, slowly you're going to be selling your Pulsechain and you're getting more PulseX. But both of those against the dollar are going up, so you're still winning. So that is the best play.
Chase Jonathan is loving the stream. He says, "Rag's face looks like you're not understanding what's going on." Do you want to reply to Chase Jonathan?
You're muted.
Yeah, I'm out of it. He could be correct, quite possibly. I could not be understanding what's happening.
That's your concentration face. Yeah, there you go. You already replied to it in the comments that we're not catching up with. And a lot of other people making really great comments on the liquidity that Wendy's was talking about.
Guys, it really is going to be the opportunity of a lifetime. I don't say this lightly. I really think there's going to be fortunes made on Pulsechain and PulseX. So you're doing good by listening and take notes. I would say, even if you don't have a ton of money, the beautiful thing about Pulsechain is the fees are going to be so low, right? So you could do $100, like you could do $100 a Pulse, $100 a PulseX, right? And see how that pair does, and then scale it to your actual portfolio, right? So you could say like, okay, so maybe my portfolio is $20,000, right? I got $20,000 to play with. I do a pair for 100 and 100, and then I could say, okay, well, 100x that, and that's, you know, essentially my portfolio. So you could see what kind of gains, what kind of losses that you would suffer, and, you know, just experiment and learn. I mean, that's how I did it. Like, you know, there's no like crypto playbook. You literally learn by doing, and that's the only reason I know about all this stuff is because I dabbled with it on other chains and on Ethereum. So
Awesome.
Got to get out there and click the buttons. And I'll admit, even myself, I do not provide liquidity. LP, I don't play this game. I don't do it. I hold and I have mine. So yeah, it's an acquired taste. You know, you gotta know what you're doing for advanced users.
Sandy Beach says, thanks for your tutorial, David. Really appreciates that.
My pleasure.
Attendees, if you want a bot built, hit your boy up, says Hex Live. Says he'd be happy.
Yeah. I told him, I was like, yeah, DM me, because there's definitely some stuff that I might need made.
Yeah, Sandy Beach says, hit the likes, everybody. We got 92 watchers, 50 likes. So yeah, hit the like if you would. That'd be great.
Would you just call her?
I said Sandy Beach, but I didn't finish it very well. I'm going to take a drink of water.
All right. Okay, watch it now.
There we go.
Rags ain't even wearing pants. What's the bet? You guys think I'm wearing pants or no?
I think shorts, basketball shorts. It's Sunday.
Yeah, which are not pants. So I also will say you're probably not wearing pants.
All right, you guys ready? All
Do
right,
it.
no, we're gonna
Are you trying to get me kicked off YouTube? What
Chat,
are you about to reveal?
+1
Got
for
me
pants,
nervous.
-1 for no pants. Let's see it, chat.
I like the fact that he thinks we're following along in chat. We're like 8 minutes behind. In 8 minutes, we'll find out if you should stand up or not.
Maybe that was my play. Hopefully, I can leave within 7 minutes.
So what's less? What are the plans for what they want to test on V3? What are the bugs and the features that they want to run on V3?
Well, I mean, that's going to be everything, right? Like, once we're on testnet version 3, that should be the correct sacrifice balances, PulseX fully working, go.hex.com fully working.
That's supposed to be the final version, right?
Yeah, that'll be the last.
I'm understanding it. Yeah.
Yeah, last call. That'll be the final version. Will be version 3. Yep, that should have everything. That should be like damn near perfect.
Yeah, Sandy Beach forgives me. I want that publicly known. We got a lot of negative ones in the comments here. So does that mean stay seated? The negative one is stay seated.
I mean, the negative one is no pants.
We got a -5555 from Yoke.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
This is going downhill quick. Tech talk. Here we go.
Shield your eyes, children.
Get ready with a blur.
Hold on.
Pants. He's wearing pants.
Wrecked.
Wrecked everybody here.
You guys shorted me. You shouldn't have shorted me, guys.
Pants are undies in the UK? No way.
Let me ask you guys a question about Hedron. At what point do most people just accept Hedron as part of the Hex ecosystem?
Like
I think a lot of people already have.
I thought that was already over. We did that.
Yeah, I in my mind, it's part of the Hex ecosystem at this point. But is there anything that it would need to prove? Like, would we need to get to the point where people are 90 days defective on their loans and we see if the auctions work or not? Because that's something we haven't experienced yet.
That's when I would actually say, okay, like there's a use case for the token. Like I love HSIs. I think HSIs are amazing. I'm super bullish on Hedron, the HSIs. The token, I would never buy. It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't necessarily know that there's a true use case for the token unless people start actually like taking loans, and you can essentially buy people's stakes with the Hedron. One thing would have been cool if the marketplace was on Hedron and you had to buy the HSIs with Hedron, that would have been a different story. But you can buy them with USDC or ETH, so it just doesn't make sense to me. But
that's a good point. That is a good point. That would have been another pumpamental, right? to
Yeah,
only buy
exactly. But
HSIs using hedron.
yeah,
That would have been interesting.
yep.
Oh,
But hey, you know, if you ever have a project and you need consulting, hit me up because I'd rather see people, you know, building stuff that has good game theory than not. You know, I think that's a win-win for everybody in the space.
yeah. Over recent spaces, Richard had a slip of the tongue, said something along the lines of a few weeks before mainnet. What are you guys' thoughts? They said 4
I
more
don't think
weeks,
so.
right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not working right now, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
we got
replace
to
weeks.
go with what we see.
Richard also said 60 days till mainnet launch when we had the Pulsechain sacrifice in August for hell's
Do,
sake.
do you know what? Do you
So
know what the
like,
dev said in November? The lead dev in November said
right.
that it could be launched by the end of November.
Yep.
It was ready. So
Yep.
you just got to take everything with a grain of salt, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Susie Q, your interview with RH was awesome. Just saying, I didn't catch that one. Was that on Spaces? With Susie Q and RH. Did you guys see that one?
No, I think that wasn't that at what is it, the Hex conference?
Yeah, that was something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When she was up
That was
there
in
talking
Vegas.
to him. Okay. Cool. I'm looking for more questions here. So no buy and burn on buying liquidated HSIs question mark.
Well, it's just a burn.
Well, yeah, but again, there is none. There's nobody borrowing, right? Last I checked. So we got
Oh, no,
you have
there's
to.
borrows.
Is there?
Yeah.
There's been nobody liquidated so far.
Correct. Hasn't been 90 days
Right.
yet. Correct. Yep.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's a question. What's up, fellas? That's from Vibra Finance CEO.
That was a statement.
Oh, okay. It started with a what? So there we go. Question for David. Do you need to buy hedron to pay back your hedron loan?
Yes, you do. Yes, you have to make the monthly payments back in hedron.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why they came up with the idea of starting 2 HSI stakes so that if the price of hedron goes sky high, you don't have to buy it back. You can sacrifice the hedron from the second stake that you didn't take a loan on to pay back the first one if you need to. So that's where that game theory came from, right? Has anyone seen their PulseX on the Block Explorer? It's fully not cut up yet.
Yeah, the Block Explorer is what's still indexing, and that'll take days or weeks to catch up. So that'll definitely take some time on that one before you'll start to see them on the Block Explorer. But right in your MetaMask, if you're on the right wallet and you put in the token, you should see your sacrifice instantly. If you don't, you gotta find, you gotta check the correct wallet, or
And think about it like this. There has to be like at least probably 4 weeks of everything working, right? So like you're not saying, is anyone seeing their PulseX? Is the Block Explorer not working? I'm not syncing with this. Like when all that stops, 4 weeks at least minimum, and then you can start saying when pulse, right? Like there's still issues regularly. So just give it time, guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a real good point.
Davis says, isn't holding the hedron, doesn't that came with the game theory that people will be forced to buy it from you in the future at higher price? Well, I think that's investing, isn't it?
Are you talking about the stakes?
Yeah, no, I think he's talking about like having hedron that you're hoping that people will have to buy it from you to pay back their loans, or for use in the auctions in the future as well.
Well, I mean, just remember that the cheapest way to get hedron is to stake hex. So like you saw that the whale the other day, like literally got like $1.7 million of hex for free, right? 555'd it. And now he's going to get tons of more hedron for free also. So just, keep that in mind.
Right. IB19, he can't see his balance. He says it's 0. That might be because as far as we know right now, the testnet's down.
Yeah,
right?
well, and that guy said he sacrificed from Binance Chain, like some cake. So Binance Chain, I have no idea what that sacrifice was like. That's a whole nother animal.
And don't forget, like Richards also said, he still has to figure out dealing with all the people that, essentially like scammed, got scammed, lost their their keys or whatever, like there's some issues with the balances and stuff like that. So yeah, people thinking like, oh, 3 weeks, like it's comical. It's honestly comical.
Right. So let me ask you guys a question. How long until we start getting 7 hex a day per T-share? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, but I know it'll come eventually.
Yeah, eventually. That's hard to say. That depends on if some giant stakes come out or somebody gets EES. Yeah, that depends on user behavior. So really hard to guess. Yo, what's up, Blue Bomb?
Shout out to Blue Bomb. What's up, HEXrayvision? That is not easy to say. I appreciate it though. Blue Bomb, he can dance. If anyone wants to know if Blue Bomb can dance, that guy can dance. He was dancing his little shoes off in Vegas.
Yeah, that was great to meet him in Vegas.
Yeah. Balance in MM shows 0 for me now that I am staking PulseX and Pool. I assume that's the same as staked Hex.
I have no idea what that means.
No, but if you're on the testnet, then don't expect anything to be working right now. And Sandy Beach also reminds people again to smash that like button. I love Sandy Beach. She's great.
Yeah, I think he's talking. You think he's talking about like if you stake hedron or the HSIs, you can sell them at a later time on the marketplace, right?
Yeah,
and
like
especially here's another thing. Like, I don't know the answer to this, but if you have an 8x or a 9x or a 10x multiplier on that, and you sell it eventually, that's going to be worth a lot in the future. So that is one thing that probably a lot of people are doing.
The thing we don't know is so essentially HSIs are basically options, right? So when you do a 5555 stake, you're basically doing a call out of the money option on Hex, and like people don't realize that that's basically what you're doing, because you're saying that so for the first 7.5 years, you're not going to be able to end that, essentially without taking, the loss. So like once the interest starts, once it's in profit after the EES and everything like that, that's when it becomes in the money, and you can actually like end it for real money. So we don't know if there's going to be a premium or a discount on that. Like we're going to have to see as time goes on. Like none of these 5555 stakes right now, they're worth 0. So if you bought one, you're essentially just buying the T-shirts and just saying that in the future it's going to be worth money, but right now it's worth nothing.
Yeah. Yep. That comment that we just had down below, I want to go back to that one real quick. My PulseX balance doesn't match my balance on PulseX leaderboard. I get this DM'd this all the time. Yeah, it's not gonna. Like the PulseXleaderboard.com was a complete guess, and it didn't include any of the other, like a bunch of other chains. So that website is not correct, right? So I just want to throw that out there because people ask me that all the time. Like, my balance isn't correct on the testnet. It's like, yeah, those websites
it was an educated guess.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Will there ever be an opportunity to swap Pulse for PulseX, vice versa, prior to mainnet launch 1-for-1? Jamie's asking. I don't think there could be, right? Because if you don't even have if they're not live, then there can't be a bridge. If there can't be a bridge, then there's no chance to swap, right?
Well, no. The bridge is not going to be there in the beginning, but you can still swap. It's just that you're swapping a ratio, but like you're swapping 1-for-1, highly unlikely.
So you're saying like right off the bat, you're going to have, because there's two completely different.
So Pulsechain will go live. You'll be able to like change your MetaMask like login. You'll be able to interact with dApps. You'll be able to interact with PulseX. You'll be able to buy, sell, and trade. Okay. But what you're trading has no value, because think about it like this. This is the way I explained it to people like months and months and months ago, to try, because everyone's like, oh, it's starting at 0. Okay. So if you ever play video games, and a lot of people have, right? If I go to buy a horse in World of Warcraft, how much does it cost, right? It costs 20 gold. Okay. Well, how much does that cost in US dollars? Well, it doesn't cost US dollars until someone builds a bridge and lets you trade gold for dollars. Okay. So the price is 20 gold, but it's worth $0. Okay, it's not worth anything. That is essentially the same thing with Pulsechain. When Pulsechain goes live, until there's a bridge and someone bridges an asset that has a traded value of X amount of dollars, whether it's USDC, whether it's ETH, whether it's Bitcoin, whatever asset bridges over, then when that first asset creates a pair and somebody trades it, then the entire system has value, right? Because when they set up ETH to PLS, now PLS has value. PLS to PLSX has value, right? The whole system has value. So before then, you're trading a ratio, and you are making a value statement, but you might not know what that value statement is. So if you trade ETH BTC and I take the dollars away, do you necessarily know how much you're buying and selling for? Probably not. You probably don't, especially if you don't know what the price is, right? So that's something that you have to be very careful about. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I have my own plans for making money on this, but I'm just going to tell you that if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose a lot of money potentially. So, and then people like me are going to make a lot of money on you. So be careful.
Yeah. Fiber Finance CEO says, I sent in Vulcan Forge after it got hacked. They send everyone their coins on Matic. I sacked them, and since they show zero value on Etherscan, there's no credit for them, even though it's a $10 coin. That sucks. I mean, it sucks first that they got hacked, right? And then it sucks also that you didn't get that. And then Latin American Crypto says, for the HSI stakes, you might consider making just a few in case they explode in value during the 90-day launch phase because of the bonus multiplier. They may be very, very, very sought on after later on. So that's a good point too, is we don't know how much the 9x, 8x, and 7x bonus are going to be worth on Hedron. So it might be worth making a few of those just as speculation. And if nothing else, you can hang on to your staked hex anyways, which is always a great idea, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, people think that Rags is putting Speedos on right now.
That's affirmative.
Do you guys have an opinion on ratio trading before the bridge is live?
Don't do it unless you're a baller.
Basically what I was saying. I was like, if you do it, you better know what you're doing, or people are going to take your lunch money.
Yeah. I think if you want more PulseX coins, it's just my own personal speculation, even just based on what's going on with testnet. If you want more PLSX, I bet you'll be able to buy it for cheap for a little bit of PLS. You could probably get more PulseX coins if that's what you want. But we'll see. Only time will tell.
And the thing is like, okay, so maybe you got into PulseX and you got a good multiplier and stuff, but you missed Pulsechain. So imagine selling your great multiplier. So when you got a great multiplier, it's essentially you're paying less per token. So you're, instead of buying Pulse at 0.001, you're buying it at 0.0001 or 0.0001. So don't mess up that great deal that you got, because you want to FOMO into something else.
Right. And shout out to Hex19. He says, of course, my PulseX balance does not show any of the XRP sacrifice. I estimate 12x over my USD sacrifice. Wow, big.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait for Richard to have a video with more details on what chains were included, what chains weren't. Yeah, that's going to take some time.
David K says, what do you guys think about the RH mention of a KEX listing for Pulse?
So so it was funny because like people were talking about like Coinbase right off the bat. They're like, oh, Coinbase and Binance. He said one of the biggest. So initially what I thought was like Kraken or something, like, because that is true. Like Kraken's one of the biggest. Do I think it's going to be like a top 2 or 3? I don't. I think that those guys will come eventually. I think so. I mean, I think that Pulsechain is not going to have the negative connotations that Hex has, where people say it's like Ponzi economic. Okay, so the thing that like Eric Wall and a lot of people say negative about Hex, that they say that it's Ponzi economics because it's an inflating token and eventually it'll collapse. Well, you don't really have that with a deflationary token. So I don't think that a lot of the negative scam, narratives and stuff like that go along with Hex are going to necessarily follow Pulsechain. And you're already seeing that because like a lot of influencers and stuff are going into Pulsechain where they never went into Hex. and the community is much bigger. A lot of people I've talked to in person get Pulsechain more than they get Hex. So I think that eventually, I think that we'll have less gatekeeping off the bat. But yeah, I mean, do we necessarily need them? No. I mean, like Hex did a 10,000x without any real central exchange listing, and I think the ethos is better. And essentially, we want people to buy on PulseX, guys. so centralized exchange, like whether it's cool for onboarding, it's like, dude, let them onboard and like let them come to PulseX. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Does anyone know how high Bitcoin got before it showed up on Mt. Gox? Do you know when it was starting to trade there?
That was a penny on Mt. Gox. I thought that was the beginning. It was like that was one of the first trades ever. It was like a penny.
Because during the pizza days, it was like 10,000 for a penny, right? When they did the Bitcoin pizza.
But that's people essentially like OTC trading it because it's not worth anything, right? There was an exchange when it actually like there was trading volumes and all that kind of stuff. It was more like in the beginning, it was like, hey, bro. Basically, like in the beginning of Hex, I sent like hundreds of thousands of Hex to people, right? Because it wasn't worth anything. I'm like, hey, try this out, stake this, right? Check this out, because you might like it. Same thing with Bitcoin back then. So once it had like real value, had gone up a lot, then obviously like people are trading it on centralized exchanges. There was no decentralized exchanges back then.
Yeah. And even to go back to the original comment for what Richard mentioned yesterday, yeah, I personally also don't think of it as that big of news. We don't really need the centralized exchanges. However, this is my own speculation and prediction. I think Circle, the company that prints USDC, I think they might support Pulsechain in the future because they've done AVAX and Solana and a bunch of other shit chains. So I definitely expect them to potentially like jump on Pulsechain, and then you'll be able to just cash out right on Pulsechain with our own version of USDC. That would be super bullish in my opinion.
Well, considering all of the ERC20 tokens and all of the Ethereum that is held on exchanges, it would just make sense for almost all these exchanges to start listing it because they would be given this huge amount of free coins from the airdrop, right? So why wouldn't they want to just start making money off of that right off the beginning or as soon as possible?
That's a good point.
Well, they wouldn't be getting they would be getting the PRCs, and they could sell the PRCs for Pulsechain, but they're not going to get like any real like big amount, because even all the ETH that they hold, it's it's basically being diluted 10,001. So it's not as much as you would potentially need for like a Coinbase or something. But yeah, I mean, they could always just buy. And maybe an exchange or two did sacrifice for that reason. We don't know.
Yeah, and Yupk says they saw the belly button ring underneath Rag's shirt. So, and Davis says, imagine bitching about it taking too long and getting wrecked before the bridge. That's a good point.
So here's a question I got for you guys. So I don't really know exactly how it works with centralized exchanges, but if you have people that are holding ERC20s on centralized exchanges, are we stopping the airdrop that's going to go to those wallets for the centralized exchanges for the people that are holding the ERC20s?
I mean, the airdrop's still going to happen, but they're not going to be able to access their coins, and that's happened in the history of a blockchain many times, right?
Well, are you saying the centralized exchanges won't be able to access those?
No, they'll be able to access them. They just probably won't, because even like in the early days of like, so OMG was airdrop to every ETH holder, right? It was probably like one of the first ETH ones. Like, I don't know if they ever, I can't remember if they ever gave it. I think they did actually, but it took years. It took years. And so they missed the entire run up of like OMG, and same with BCH, right? So when Bitcoin went to BCH, like it literally took years before Coinbase was like, here's your BCH. And then they didn't even let you trade the BCH. They basically were like, you can get your BCH and trade it, like get it off this exchange, and like you'd have to like sell it elsewhere.
Why do they do that?
Because they don't want.
Who knows, man? I mean, think about it like this. Think about it like this. Coinbase literally listed that stupid ape token like like, come on, it's like
Right.
literally been out like 2 days and they list that and they haven't listed Hex. Like, so why they do the things they do, who the hell knows? You
In
know,
my
but
mind, I feel like it could be if the right pitch was given, it could be a good opportunity for an exchange to take advantage of, and
Mhm.
you know, because those copies, those PRC20s, they're going to be in people's wallets, and if exchanges play nice, then they could make a lot of money off of that potentially if they adopted Pulsechain. So
They
that's
could,
like an
yeah,
extra
absolutely.
step for free for nothing. So I wonder if anybody out there has any connections with some of these exchanges. Let them know. It's a good opportunity. They'll make a lot of money.
No. Shout out to Matty Allen in the chat, and Chase Jonathan says, how does someone justify the inflation point in crypto but not fiat? I don't quite understand that question.
Well,
Well,
I mean, it's first and foremost, you know, it's coded. Okay, is the inflation rate for the Fed coded? No, it's just what Johnny Appleseed wants to make it to get himself out of a pinch. So you can't plan anything based on what the Fed does, but everything is planned with crypto, and so you can do business that way.
well, you have BTC maxis that don't even understand that Bitcoin's inflating. It's
Right.
kind of comical. So
You know, I've had those arguments with BTC maxis on Twitter. I'm like, your coin is
yeah,
it's inflationary, and they call me crazy, and it's embarrassing. And I have to remind me of this in 3 years so I can like go back and wrec them. So I can
you
say,
don't have to
what's
do
your
that. You
total
could
supply
literally show
now?
them how many coins exist right now, and then
Yeah,
like
what's your
tomorrow you
total
could be like,
right,
it's literally inflated.
right.
Bufo wants to know if you make the sound like the Pillsbury Doughboy rag when someone pokes you in your belly button.
No, but your mom makes that sound pretty well. Guys, you have to have one of those a stream. One of those every stream.
Every stream.
They'll learn. They'll learn eventually.
I come on here, I'm dropping alpha, and we get Pillsbury Doughboy questions. What the hell?
Yeah, shout out to Danny Boy listening in the background. Is DAI the play because they don't have a God mode to invalidate your coins?
Okay,
referring
so
to
think,
USDC and USDT, right?
all right, so think about it like this. I think like people think that like some of the stable coins are not going to have value. You have to differentiate between the free copy and the actual like USDC, right? So like if I bridge USDC over, so if I have USDC in my wallet and the fork happens, right? I now have like PUSDC and then I have USDC on Ethereum, right? The PUSDC can be invalidated, right? Because that's just like another token. They have admin keys that can invalidate that. If I bridge my USDC to Pulsechain, it's not invalidated because that USDC is backed one-to-one in the bank account. And what happens is the USDC sits in the bridge, okay? And let's say I take my wrapped USDC, my Pulsechain wrapped USDC, and I buy Pulse with it, okay? So somebody on the other end of that trade, remember when we were talking earlier about, I was explaining liquidity providing, right? I said that you're taking a position on a trade. So when I bridge my USDC over, I now have wrapped USDC. I spend my wrapped USDC on Pulse. I now have Pulse in my wallet. The person who is providing liquidity now lost some Pulse and acquired USDC. Remember, the prior conversation we had. So now that guy takes the USDC that he made, okay, and he bridges it back to Ethereum. He takes the USDC that I had that is now sitting in the bridge, goes back to Ethereum. He goes from Ethereum to Coinbase and cashes out. So like people, I think people are thinking like, oh, there's not going to be any like stable. There will be stable coins for sure.
Awesome. So do you see a point where a lot of the stuff that does have like USDC, do you see a point where a lot of that is just bridged over to the Pulse chain, and
it's
at that point they kind of have to like
it's going
figure
to
out
be
what they
for
want to
sure.
do?
So like, yeah, I would not speculate on like the PUSDC, like the free copy, because that's not redeemable for cash, right? So like, why would you play with that, right? But like people are 100% going to bridge, because there's people with multi-million-dollar cash positions, right? And so if I have, let's just say I have $1 million, right? I'll do 500,000 in DAI, 500,000 in USDC. Maybe the incentive token's paying me 20%, right? I'm pretty happy with 200 racks a year. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm bridging that shit over, and I'm gonna make some money, right? You know. Mama wants a new Louis purse, you know, and Tendy's takes care of his mama. So, you know, so I'm gonna do it. But, you know, like there's going to be massive incentive. And what I'm telling you guys is that if you were around for when like sushi was created, it was a huge vampire attack on Uniswap. This is going to be the vampire attack that you've never seen in your life. Like there's going to be so many millions of dollars that are bridged over from the other chains to go somewhere where the fees are low, the rewards are high, and that the innovation is happening. It's going to be beautiful. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be amazing. The burn on PulseX is going to be beautiful. The burn on Pulsechain is going to be beautiful. And we are all here at the beginning. The rise of this coins is going to make so many millionaires that it's just going to be a beautiful thing. Now, the question is, can you guys hold without your coins locked up? And I hope you can. I hope, you know, because like I said before, I'm seeing in the chat a lot of impatience, right? You need patience in this game. This is a marathon, not a sprint, guys. You know, it's not win Lambo. It's, you know, it's life-changing money that you can have. I talk about it all the time. I retired my parents. You know, I made real gains, and I've, you know, transformed that into generational wealth for my family. Like you guys can do the same thing, but don't sell yourself short.
In the words of Crypto Kool-Aid, 5 years, no touchy.
No touchy.
No touchy for 5 years. That's I love repeating that. Shout out to your game theory gang, K4K buddy here.
Hey, we're all here. Maddie's here. K4K. Good to see you guys.
Yeah,
we'll be on Tuesday nights.
Yep, and Chase Jonathan says Hex staking scares the shit out of centralized exchange profits. Because that's not volume, that's not trading, that's not velocity that they make all their money off of, right?
Yeah, and then like other exchanges make money off lending your coins and stuff. They can't do that when it's locked in a contract burned, essentially, right?
Yeah, and of course they want the big listing fee, which they're not going to get from us. So,
correct.
Wow. I'm looking for some more questions. A lot of great comments here in the chat for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna throw an invite here and see if K4K, aka Jimmy Neutron, is up to join the stream, and Maddie too. Jump in here and so now it's down there. It's in the chat. That's the link to join. Jump here in the green screen. Latin America says the more degenerates, the more money the centralized exchanges make. That's totally true. If you look at a centralized exchange as anything other than a casino, then you're not seeing it correctly. You know, it's the same thing as walking into a casino and saying, "I'm going to beat this roulette table." You know, you might beat it that night.
They got the flashing lights and the sounds and everything, right?
Yes, for sure. They're just legalized gambling for the most part, and Hex destroys that business model. So that is awesome. Yeah, so we've got that in there. Oh, here we go. There he is.
Whoops. One sec. There we go.
And Hex destroys that.
Damn it. Oh, how's it going, everybody? What's up?
Hey, buddy. Good to see you, dude.
Dude, have you guys tried out the testnet yet?
Yeah.
Down right now, but
it was good until it broke. Yeah.
He hasn't slept in 24 hours, actually, guys. K4K.
No, actually, I purposefully got a good night's rest, ate a nice meal, so I was satiated, so I could just pound away at the testnet, check out everything all day, like in a good state of mind. Instead of like Huddle Dog was like, it's 5 a.m. I'm not sleeping. I was like the opposite. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure all my faculties are there, so I think about everything. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah,
it's really fun to look at, even if it's just like you're just looking at screenshots basically because you can't make a transaction, but you can kind of see all the stuff that's going to be possible. There's even more stuff coming that's not there yet. There's more stuff. Like the DAO's coming. The DAO's coming. We're going to see that. We're going to see the front end in PulseX is going to have a what's it called? The buy and burn is just going to be an option. You can just click it there. Anyone will see it. It'll be like, oh, is it profitable to do it? I'm doing it. Okay. And then you get like a percentage of that buy and burn. It'll be a publicly callable function.
Yes.
Amazing. I couldn't wait to talk about that. We've known about that for a couple of weeks, but I was like, oh, it's not revealed yet. Can't say anything. That's so amazing. And they upped the buy and burn percent by like 15% from
Mhm.
0.06 to
Beautiful.
0.07. They're just using it all. They don't even care.
I thought they were going to do. I thought it was going to be a public function because I've seen that on Matic a lot with some of their farms. There was like a public function, and then they had a bounty. And so, the bounty would go a couple of minutes, and like if somebody's sitting at the computer, they could collect that, small bounty. It's awesome, and it's a way to like auto compound,
Oh yeah, yeah.
manually.
Even
It's
Cake has
beautiful.
it. That's why I was like,
Yep.
all right, if they can do it, then super exciting. It's good to see a Wendy's for Tendies. I've seen you in some spaces sometimes. We never really.
I know, man. We gotta do a stream together because we're always I usually talk like high level stuff, but I don't go on stream that much. So yeah, I watch a lot of your stuff too, and I'm like, man, we'd have some good conversations.
My biggest question would be, do you have red hair?
I have a red beard actually, but no,
Oh.
I have no hair.
I did not picture you with a beard. Interesting. Did everybody else picture him with the beard?
I did not.
There you go. Oh, Rags is here. I didn't even see. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Rags up top.
Rags is lurking with just his little
He always has a
crest.
video. I'm uploading right now, so like I'm surprised my video is like working fine.
Dude,
I
my
thought it'd be
camera's
messed up.
jacked, man, so I had to cut it off.
I had to turn a fan on because my camera keeps rugging me over here. Maybe you just need a nice fan to cool that camera down.
It
Oh,
might be
Reflecting all the red heat from your beard.
the red heat from my beard. Jesus. Dude, we're talking about red heat. Look to my right. Look at that mofo, dude. You know how many calories his beard burns?
My beard does not compete.
Hilarious. So there's been some really good comments here about how someone like Brian Armstrong can make more money than Satoshi by taking advantage of the degenerate gambling and trading that goes on exchanges.
Well, here's the thing about that, right? Is that you heard in the gold rush that's selling the pitchforks and the shovels was more lucrative.
Yep.
Well, that's what we're doing on PulseX, right? We're making the fees, right? So we're getting all the money. If people want to degen, gamble, casino, play, we're earning. If there's casinos on Pulsechain, we're earning. Like we're winning nonstop. It's a beautiful thing.
It's not going to be balanced. No inflation either. You're just going to gain value over time. Also, I figured out what the PRT is. Everyone's like, "What's party token? Is that taking over the incentive token? Is there 2 tokens?" And it's basically a placeholder because it's party because it's going to be third-party coins that you can actually earn for PulseX. It's going to be multiple. It's going to be several. So you're going to be able to choose all these different tokens that are third-party tokens that you can single stake your PulseX for. Pancake has this. They call them IFO pools, like initial. What does the F stand for? Something offering. Anyway, farm offering. And basically, you just single side stake, and you can earn. It could be a new NFT project, a new gaming project, and they're like, "Hey, we want to give some of our supply to people who single side stake," and they get voted in by the PulseX holders because obviously we won't vote in scams. We just vote in good tokens, and we vote in those, and we get to choose which pools get the incentive token. So the incentive token people can stop crying about, single side stakers are getting incentive token. They're going to dump it forever. Well, it's not even going to be the case. Not that I thought that was going to happen anyway, but the incentive token is only going to be for people providing liquidity to those pairs. So it's only liquidity providers are getting it. So
yeah,
that's
we had a discussion about that earlier before you came on, and I was saying that we were talking about whether like PulseX stakers should get it. And I was saying no, because you want the incentive for everyone to bring mass liquidity and mass trading volumes over. Because that's what benefits PulseX holders the most is like people trading and stuff. So yeah, I think that's going to be huge. I think that's the right call. And yeah, I mean, Richard's making all the right decisions. So it's going to be great.
Super crushing it. His devs are smart. He's working on all types of stuff. Very excited. Oh man, I am so hyped, dude. I just, oh my gosh, seeing the site and like something new to interact with. I think Feeder was like super giddy about it too. Just like, oh man, all these buttons to press. Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, I made that video last night at like 2 a.m. and I like signed off like giggling because I'm just like, yeah. Like, this is
I've
so
walked around my
exciting.
house and I've been like, I'm doing this. Like I'm getting excited. I'm just all by myself. Like, woohoo! I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy or something. I like numbers a lot.
Yeah,
Number go up is good.
Like Tendies was saying earlier, there's so much impatience here in the chat. Like Life Foundry was saying, who's going to hold for 5 years? LOL.
Yeah, see, bro, this is
And
what I'm telling you.
Hexen
And
Chief
that's why
says,
Price will just
me.
go up
Yeah.
without them. It doesn't need
Yeah.
them to hold.
Yeah,
Someone else will
exactly.
do it.
It's
Will
gonna
go up regardless. Will you be holding is the question.
Not everybody makes it, guys. Like I think it's funny because when you do make it, you think like, oh, everyone's made it. But then when you go into like comment sections, you can see like almost nobody makes it in crypto. Like a lot of people will make some money and they give it right away. So it's like you guys really need to do your research, learn from people who made mistakes, and learn from the people who've done the right thing, and continue to win, because it's about consistency, right? Like I've been consistently winning for years. It's about winning over time, right? You're going to make some mistakes. As long as you learn from them and you apply that to the next thing, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying a minimum 2 years, but I'm telling you, 2 years is probably when the new wealth, whatever that what is it that Maddie's always talking about?
Sudden wealth syndrome.
Sudden wealth syndrome. It's when the sudden wealth syndrome is going to hit people in 2 years, and they're going to freak out.
Look at the God will. Look how long the God will sat on his coins. Like, look at all the old Bitcoin tweets, right? And the guy's like, just sold my Bitcoin. Went from $8 to $10. Like, ha ha ha. Waiting for the dip. Like, that's how you get wrecked. Like, sure, if you want to take some profits, but don't ever trade your whole bag. Like. Yeah, especially if you're on a winning team like Hex and Pulsechain, like don't trade your whole bag.
Oh yeah, never ever trade whole bag, especially these mega projects for sure.
Yeah, because the thing is this: if we do see the fees get to a point, if the blockchain gets bogged down, if we see the fees go up, and you say, "Oh, how is this going to work?" He's just going to fork it again, and like you're just gonna make more and more money. Like if you FUD out because of something like that, like guys, by the time the fees are like 20 cents or more, everyone here is worth ungodly amounts of money. Okay, and then guess what? It gets forked again, and we have an even faster blockchain.
We're gonna buy all the developers.
Yeah, exactly.
Richard's paying like $250,000 to developers. That's pretty sweet. Just buy them up.
I can tell you. I can tell you that they're expensive. They're going up like regularly. Like when I started paying developers, it was like $35,000 a month. It's now $55,000 a month. It's getting ridiculous.
A month. You're paying more than Richard is.
But that's for like one developer versus like paying a team of developers. But yeah.
Well, what are you working on? You working on something?
Yeah, multiple things. Yeah. Stay tuned.
Ooh, stay tuned.
I even have thought of a way to burn the incentive. If Richard doesn't create a way to burn the incentive token, I'm going to do it myself.
Create a way to burn the incentive. Oh, okay, yeah. You're trying to pump your own incentive token bags. You plan to farm?
Exactly.
I guess why not? Okay.
Yep.
This is becoming a proof of pants network that we're on right now.
What's with the pants? No one wears pants these days or something?
Everyone's just gambling on whether or not we're wearing pants. The Rag says that K4K is Mormon. You guys have to wear your pants when using the internet.
I think Rags Riches is Mormon without the second M. That's what I think.
Yes,
you could be right.
It's reflecting all the ginger.
Wait, so there's more gingers than non-gingers on this stream currently.
We're outnumbered.
Oh wait, is Feeder technically ginger or just the red beard? Does that count?
I'm a real ginger.
Ginger is hell. That dude's ginger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the carpets match the drapes. I promise.
Their headshot.
Oh boy.
Just stand up. You're not wearing pants, right?
Yeah, here we go, guys. All right, I am not wearing pants.
Oh, man.
Kidding.
Cash sign pubes. David Feeder's token coming live.
Right.
Pulsechain.
Party pubes. Chad
Party
Donner
pubes.
Swan says we have the best pickaxes, don't we, folks? Nobody has better pickaxes than us. Referring to the gold rush.
I compared the Federal Reserve and legacy financial system to, like, if it were a cryptocurrency, it'd be one with an inflation bug every year and no one can fix it. That's what I compared it to. It's got an inflation bug and you have no rights. Oh, and sometimes your address gets turned off. That's legacy crypto. And then we got real crypto. It's just better. What are you guys doing over there? Get in. Come on in. The water's fine. It's amazing over here.
Latin America crypto is talking about doing single-sided rewards for phantom ecosystems like Boo and Phantom.
Yep. Basically that. That's what we're gonna have with PulseX. You just earn this other token. Never ever get some. You don't get more PulseX. You want more PulseX? You better buy it. Push the price up. That's it. There's no farming. There's no earning. Just buying and burning. And then the platform buys it up. Every $1 billion of volume, that's going to be 700K. What is that?
Let's go.
700K buy? Oh my God. Good night. Good night price charts.
Dude, are you holding more? Are you going to hold more PulseX rather than Pulse?
What?
Are you going to hold more PulseX rather than Pulse?
Yes.
Interesting.
Dude, whoever made this hat saw the future because this is the logo and then this is the price chart.
Straight up, baby. Straight up.
Dude, it's going to be...
But you know, like the cool thing is that even when the market is bearish, even like when, let's say, like Hex is selling off, it's burning PulseX. So it's like as things go down, it's still burning your bag. It's still making your bag more rare. It's a beautiful thing, and it is easier to hold when you're getting paid incentive, when you're getting paid, when your token's getting burned, and you can literally see that on the blockchain. It's going to be beautiful.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Oh.
I'm so far back here in comment. They're talking about you trying to join the stream still. So I've got like a lot of comments to follow through here. So if you guys see anything particular, just point it out. I'll jump to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and everyone's saying if you want to be wealthy, then you're gonna have to practice patience like the Godwells and the other OGs that have the diamond hands.
Everybody thinks it's easy, and it's not necessarily easy. I mean, like Hex has made it easy because if you truly did a staking ladder, you're good. You know, you're good. You're going to be locked in. You're going to like see gains on the way up. You're not going to be tempted to like EES. You know, if you use the system properly, you're rewarded. But everybody in hindsight, it's always like, oh, you're an OG, you got, you know, but then it's like to be an OG in a coin, you have to suffer 90% losses.
Yeah, people forget that.
And people forget that, and like you display how real it is. I mean, look at Twitter, right? Everyone's attacking everyone. It's a very like toxic place. And in a couple of years, you're gonna see new people come in and they're gonna talk about people who are in now, and they're gonna be like, oh, you're so lucky, you're dumping your bags on it, but they're not, they're discounting the pain that is going on right now. Like it's comical.
You can tell who's not staked on Twitter.
You really can. Yeah.
I've never felt so cozy. Like they're entering or whatever this bear market lull we are in. It's like somehow logically, or it's how you feel when you just feel like you're earning something, even though, or like you can't even sell now anyway type feeling. Mm-hmm. Or at least maybe it's just because I just like really believe in this ecosystem and how it's going that I'm not worried like about these current prices or whatever, because all this stuff.
I've said it before. I'm like,
even worried at all.
Yeah, even a 98% drop, like Hex will bounce back. And you know, I held Ethereum through 95% drop, and I didn't get paid interest. So
yeah,
I mean, to get paid high interest through it, it's like, guys, it's a no-brainer. But everyone's worried about me, I, and they're thinking about when they can dump on everyone else. So it's like when they see price low and they see, people not stressing about it, living their life, they're like, you know, feeling some type of way about it. It's like, guys, this is opportunity for you. You're still working a job. That means you can buy every month. Like, come on.
Yeah, they should be happy it's low. Like, wouldn't you be
It's
sad if it was just super high and you couldn't get
crazy.
any more? You'd be like, oh
It's
man, it's
crazy.
just not, you know,
Yeah,
you get less returns.
Would you buy $88 ETH if you could? Because the last time you could do that, it was the peak bear, you know?
Yeah.
But people were complaining back then too, instead of buying, like shutting up and buying more, right?
Yeah, the lower the prices, the more value that crypto is to you, because the value it has is how much it can appreciate. It can appreciate
And the higher
even
run-up.
more the lower price
Yeah,
it is.
exactly. The
Not
higher
the
run-up,
higher,
the next. I'm
valuable.
bullish. Yeah, I'm more bullish the lower it goes. Like if Hex was to go down like 95, like I'm more bullish. I'm like, okay, we're gonna probably see a 200x, right? It's funny because you're like, oh well, if so, let's say we never dumped, right? Let's say the price of the coin was like 60, 70 cents. What is our upside from there versus like now? What is our upside, right? People don't recognize that.
I like the huge corrections. It makes, you know, I think it's good to shake out these people before we go up even more. Otherwise, it, you know, that's what causes these big dumps is like the huge run-ups, you know? So I like getting these people shaken out that have larger positions and then they don't have the huge position later. It spreads it across more people, get a bigger bottom line. Real good.
Yep.
Bufo on the beat asked, is liquidity providing the same as yield farming?
Yes and no. So like liquidity providing on Uniswap, right? You're not getting any incentive. You're providing liquidity and you're getting the fees. That is liquidity providing, but it's not yield farming. Yield farming would be liquidity providing on Sushi Swap and getting sushi as a reward. So yes and no.
Yeah, I explained it in my videos coming out today. It's just like you provide liquidity, you get liquidity tokens that represent your position, you put the tokens in the yield farm, and it just lets you get the fees you're already getting. And on top of that, that thing that represents your position also earns you the incentive token. That's all you just get that on top. So you just have to remember to put your tokens into that pool. Otherwise, you don't get the incentive token.
Yeah, go to these guys' YouTube channels, both David Feeder and Rags to Riches, and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell because they drop really awesome tutorials, really great explanations. You can go to Rags' channel, but you're just going to end up on a government watch list. So like, there's just be careful of that. And now that he's had his computer off, his camera off for so long, everyone's just picturing him shirtless. So we appreciate that as well.
Oh, God. Government watch list, yes. Shirtless, maybe.
Shirtless, maybe. Okay.
Maybe, potentially.
Latin American Crypto says people forget there may actually be about 2% of the Earth's population that's actually in crypto. Imagine how early you are if you're watching this stream. That's a really, really good perspective as well.
2% seems high.
Well, it's everyone
in crypto. If you have less than like $1,000, I don't even count that. You know, in crypto, like that, you gotta have to be in crypto. Like really, that guy's not moving the price. You need. That's why they don't count those certain wallets, like anything with under like $100 in it. It's like, do you count those as crypto users? Because somebody bought some Doge with their, I don't know.
Right,
those people don't. Exactly. I don't consider those people in crypto. Like I talk to like a party, and they're like, "Oh, I bought $100 worth of Doge." It's like,
right. They're not.
I can't imagine doing that. I can't imagine being somebody who goes in so little into something. You know, like they did just enough research to figure out how to buy it, but they don't believe in it or know enough to put enough in. Like right?
They basically
like,
bought out of like hype or peer pressure, and they're not real investors. So like, the numbers are super small. I mean, look how many people join this channel, right? Like how many people are watching, and of that, think about like when I was talking, you know, at like a high level earlier about liquidity farming. Like most of the people were like, "What?" Like, you know, you have to like listen or say it like multiple times for people to get it. Like we're so early that, you know, it's not like second nature to people. You know, by the time you master this kind of stuff, it's like the amount of money that you can make is absolutely crazy. I wouldn't have believed it myself.
Yeah.
I like this comment from Hector the Protector 22. I hate it when I hear people say it was easy to just buy a big bag of Hex back in the day. No, it wasn't. And it really was. You had to learn a few things to get into the adoption amplifier. Right?
That
it wasn't something that crazy. anyone off the street would have just figured out at the beginning of the adoption amplifier for sure. And it got easier when it was on Uniswap, but not that much easier for someone off the street to figure out, you know?
Yep.
So that's true.
But also we were buying before Uniswap, and like before there was, you know, essentially like the market was completely different, and we were just blindly buying because we believed. Like it was not the same way it is now. You didn't have streamers, especially like in the first month. Like Hexologist wasn't even streaming. Like there was none of that. It was just like a very small community, and we were supporting the idea. This was before DeFi, right? This is before DeFi. Like we were literally pioneers in that. Uniswap wasn't a thing. Like this, it really, like people discount that they weren't around back then. And then when we did buy, people said that we were scammers and that we were in a, you know, like it was nonstop. Like if you posted anything about Hex on Twitter, you'd have like 100 people in the comments saying like, you're a scammer, da da da. You know, like it was crazy. Like it's much more rare that people say that kind of stuff now. They still say it, but it's not the same.
Yeah, at the very beginning we had Serena Alonso.
Yeah, you're right. She was
out there like
first.
really just basically explain it to people. And then there was a girl with the ukulele that sang about Richard Hart. That was our very first Hex videos, besides of course, you know, Richard Hart streams. So wow. Latin America, less than 2% of people actually know what you know. That's the future of money. The quicker people understand, the fastest mass adoption will take place for real crypto. Agree with that. Danny Boy says, I had to get ETH from a guy I'd met in a coffee shop so he could get into the AA lobby. Says, yeah, that's real. Inviting freedom. Shout out to Serena. She is a badass for sure. Ginger phobia is triggered. IV19. Oh, yeah, and then people are also saying yes, Godwell, yes, that. And my camera's rugging me again.
Dude, they're failing, dude, left and right.
There we go. You guys are true trailblazers for the rest of us. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, like I said, and that was what I was trying to tell everyone in Vegas was everyone start a stream, start a podcast, start a blog, whatever you're comfortable with sharing, get out there and just talk, because someone that does not want to listen to me or Rags or David is going to listen to you, and they're going to get caught up in what you're excited about, you know. So Hexagon Chief says, if you're going to be a liquidity provider providing tokens of equal value, that you don't mind losing one and gain the other, or vice versa, is a win-win-win. So yeah, that is a good way to basically automate your dollar cost averaging.
I tell people that liquidity providing is not for everybody, because it's a managed position. You don't just throw it in there and go, oh, I'm getting this other token, it must be a good idea. It's like,
exactly. It's like I said before, it's actively passively trading. That's what it is.
Yeah. So I don't recommend people do it with like their whole stack. Maybe you just want to just earn some for fun or something, but do like a little bit. Like most people who watch any of my videos are probably not the ones who should probably be liquidity farming. You gotta like live this stuff if you want to do well in that type of position. It's just
I did say earlier before you jumped on that because Pulsechain's fees are so low that somebody could literally do like $100 and create a pair and like learn it without actually like having any real risk. So
that's true. I said that in my my video that's coming out. I was like, you can do like, because the way that you get paid in these, like for a liquidity farm, if they're giving tokens, it's per block. It doesn't care about the dollar amount. So you can literally have, if you're the first guy in the pool, you can put in $2 of liquidity and you get 100% of the reward per block. If they're giving 1,000 tokens per block.
I've had that happen before. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've been like the first guy in some of these farming pools back in 2020, like all the food tokens, dude. So many rugs back then. Somehow I never got rugged. It was like I was just jumping from one to one. You'd be in one for a few hours. You're like, this doesn't feel good anymore. I'm out. You're selling these tokens. You got thousands of them for like $5 to $10 each. You're like, what is going on? I had one of the craziest days of my life doing some crazy farming back then. But yeah, this one might be a little bit like that at the start, but I do think there's a lot of big players who are like online now. You know, they kind of just know that game and they'll auto jump into this stuff instantly, like right at the start. So good luck
to
beating
answer
those
that
guys.
to answer that guy's question, no, because of one word, arbitrage. If a coin, so like DAI has traded at like 40 cents above and below $1, right? But like at some point there is so much incentive to buy or sell a token that they reach parity at $1. So sometimes you'll see that USDC will trade above or below $1, but they reach parity because the market will take advantage of arbitrage.
Someone earlier said that they thought that the testnet was back up. Have you guys checked to see if it's back up yet?
Yeah, it is. It was.
Are you serious? What? Man, so
We're all gonna go. We're all gonna go crash it right now.
Done, legit. Oh, I guess. I mean, I was gonna make more videos anyway, but it's up.
Shout out to Junior USMC. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, brother? USMC. What's up, man?
Dun, dun, dun. I
LP
haven't tested
has
the
gotten inviting
bridge.
freedom wrecked a lot of times, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's it's an advanced feature for advanced users. You have to know what you're doing. You have to understand what trade you're making and if it's worthwhile.
Yeah. So what is the risk if you're providing liquidity
Impermanent
for
loss?
2 of the stable coins? You're just if one of them
Well,
stops being a stable coin.
You have tail end risk.
Yeah.
You lose everything.
Yeah. So there's risk, like depending on, so like let's say outside of PulseX, right? Let's say you're on another network, you have risk of that network having issues, you have the risk of the farm having some kind of like exploit or hack where the money can be drained. That's happened plenty of times. So there's that kind of risk. There's risk for like algorithmic stable coins that they can lose peg. There's risk for maybe something like USDT, like Tether, right? Like if you've like researched into Tether, like there could be potential risk of that. As far as like dying USDC, that's a little bit safer. So like that kind of pair on PulseX, I would be pretty confident in. But yeah, I mean, there's always some risk. And then the other risk is that, so if you're providing DAI USDC, right, you might have no risk in DAI, or minimal risk in DAI, minimal risk in USDC, but then you're not in Pulse or PulseX, so you're losing against those, and the dollar is inflating massively. So there's always something that you're exchanging for. So you just have to understand that.
So basically, you could be holding on to a shit coin, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So like, okay. So for example, let's
US
say
dollar is a shit coin.
Yeah. So exactly. So let's say
Let's
say that you are providing liquidity on USDC in some shitcoin, okay? And the shitcoin goes to 0. All of your USDC will be drained. It'll be gone, and you will. Okay, so here's the story. I was on another network. There was an algorithmic stablecoin that essentially lost peg, and so what happened was the thing lost peg. There was money that was backed up in the system, and what happened was that there was essentially 60% of the algorithmic stablecoin was backed up with USDC. The coin lost peg. It went to like 40 cents. People were freaking out. There was a ton of liquidity that was in the farms, right? So I go in, I see it's trading way under the peg, and I'm like, okay, so I buy like millions and millions of this coin, right? And so I'm like, boom, instantly make like $250,000. I tell Crypto Vince, I'm like, yo, Crypto Vince, check this out. Boom, he makes like 80 G's right off the bat, right? So we're just like printing money, and then I'm telling them I'm getting another token for doing this as backup because I was able to mint a token, and I'm telling them in the Telegram, I say, hey. And I got like a lot of love for this because I was telling people, I said, hey, if you have a liquidity provider position, like the coin's lost peg, like this is done. You pull your liquidity now because I'm going to sell this down, because if I don't, somebody else is going to do it. So I'm telling you beforehand, like this is your chance to pull the liquidity now. Otherwise, you're just going to lose all your cash, and that's what happened. So it was just like, so I made the money on that, and then I literally like dumped this shitcoin that basically went to 0 and drained the liquidity too. So, and people told me, they're like, oh, I'm at work, like I can't do it. So if you don't do it, somebody else is gonna do it. And I'm like, all right, peace.
Yeah.
Drained. So there is risks in this kind of stuff, and you have to understand, it's good to learn crypto. Let me just tell you that, because there's ways like that where it's like one morning I'm drinking coffee, boom, $250,000 for pushing a button. You know, there's opportunities like that if you know what you're doing.
Wendy's for Tendies was the last candle on that chart there, the down candle. He's like that.
I think it was actually Crypto Vince, because I took the $250,000 and then I left like 80 G's for him.
That's sweet. Junior USMC says perhaps some future liquidity provider specific streams to help teach the peeps. I'm sure that's going to be. I'm sure we'll have several people walking through different methods of liquidity providing and farming yield, and really all sorts of stuff coming forward when Pulse launches, for sure, and PulseX.
Hey fellas, I got to bounce just to let you know.
Who's that? Who's
It's
there?
Rags.
Wait, you're still here?
Yeah, he's still here. The never-ending story comes on at 8. I got to get ready, get popcorn and all that.
Well, thanks for wearing pants, first of all, and thanks for lurking. Second of all, tell your wife, as always, we're sorry that she has to deal with you.
Ooh, dude, the chain is up.
I told you.
I got my test pulse, got 10,000.
Yeah.
So, but that went through. I did that like hours ago. Finally went through. So good to see you, Rags. Except
you too. Wendy's, nice to meet you, man.
Do not
Likewise,
follow
bro.
or
Likewise.
subscribe or like his stuff. But
thank you. And chat, I hate you all. Thanks for showing up. I'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
See you, Rex.
I'm buying PulseX right now. This instant.
On the testnet?
No, it's actually on mainnet. I'm buying it.
Oh, okay.
Walls. You can't joke like that with plebs, bro. You just freaked out 20 people watching right now.
20 people just ran away from their laptops.
No clipping. Absolutely no clipping here. Anyway, yeah, but I'm literally gonna buy it right now. Okay, switch that there. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Usually whenever you... Oh, interesting. All right, here we go. We'll do 5,000. Do 5,000 pulse for 6,300 PulseX right now. We're doing it.
That's the ratio?
Yeah, it's like 1.26 PulseX to 1 pulse.
No, wait a second. The supply of PulseX and Pulse are dramatically different, right? And they're like...
Actually, they're not.
They're very close.
They're very close, I'm pretty sure now. Like I've seen some like new numbers, because I don't know if this is legit, but some guy has some numbers that I hadn't seen, and apparently on like 3 days after, you know how we got like 49, really close to 50 billion hex dollars worth of sacrifice from the OA for PulseX on the last whatever. 3 days after that, from this guy's calculations, he noticed another transaction. There was an extra 4 or so billion sacrificed. So from that address, so there's actually a little bit more. So they're both total supplies are actually really close to like around 130 trill instead. So they're actually very, very, very similar. But the user amount supply is actually a bit different. I think there's actually like almost 50% more PulseX user-owned supply, a total amount. Like there's 17 trillion of that, and then there's around like 12-ish trillion for Pulsechain from like user-owned supply, you know. And then there's like 1 to 3 trillion Pulse supply in liquidity pools if they actually did it right and bought it all up and put it in there. So that's available for purchase, but that's how much is like user-owned, I guess you could say. I kind of split it up. I don't include the OA in these calculations, really. Anyway, buying some PulseX. Let's see. Because I want to do a video showing people how to actually provide liquidity, so I got to have 2 coins, not just 1. But PulseX, here we go. Oh no. Oh, my first failed transaction. I have to go into the settings. So I think my slippage is super low, so I probably have to open that up. Let's just do 1%.
I like the fact that you have your slippage tightened up even on testnet. You're like, I went into
the advanced settings, put it on expert mode immediately.
You're not taking my fake money. Greedy.
I can only get 10,000 per day until they Somebody gives me extra. All right.
It's hilarious.
See if it goes through. Success. Oh, let's look at that PulseX balance. Boom. We got 6,400 PulseX, and we got 5,000 test pulse. Time to start farming, dude. I'm gonna farm all the tokens, dude. You guys can't catch me because I'm gonna be in there before you guys. So,
Oh, I already did it last night. Sorry, bro. You're actually buying my
Are
coins,
you
dude.
serious?
I made the pair. I was the one who started the pair with that new party coin too.
Are
K
you
for K
kidding?
is David Feeder's exit liquidity.
No,
Yeah, bro. Thanks for the coins,
I
bro.
am. Oh man, I'm getting feedered on.
Sorry, I front run you.
Oh man. Okay, let's see this. I'm gonna stake some PulseX first.
Well, on that note, I think I'm gonna go have some dinner, guys.
All right.
So
I'm gonna mess around on this Pulsechain thing some more, so I'm gonna leave too. Later.
Yeah, well, I'd say we're about right here, unless the Wendy's wants to launch into another preaching the
Man, I can preach all night, but I shouldn't. So.
preach all
All right,
night.
well,
I gotta eat
I'll
too.
see you guys later.
You get all right. Thanks for coming on, K4K, and thanks for coming on, both you two. Follow Wendy's for Teddy's on Twitter. Is there anywhere else that we can follow up with you on? Wendy's?
Shout out to HEXmerch.com. For all your Pulsechain hex gear. The best place to interact with me is Twitter at 4tendies or in Legion VC News at Twitter, and then also our Telegram group. Pretty active. We talk about all kinds of stuff, other projects, and everything that we're working on and stuff. We haven't let out everything yet. There's some active stuff that we're developing, and some other stuff that's in the works, like for hexagons, some stuff that's not for hexagons. It's I can't say too much, but I'm very bullish overall on Pulsechain and the whole ecosystem. So yeah, if you want to hang out with us and interact with Motley, Vince, the whole Legion gang, come to our Telegram.
Awesome. Yeah, join that Telegram, and that's where you got that shirt. Is that right, David?
Yeah, I only wear hexmerch.com every day. Different shirt. Yep, they got it all.
I designed that shirt myself.
Love
That's
it.
awesome.
Love it.
Awesome. All right, cool. And then, like I said, you can find me at HEXrayVision on almost every platform. My neighbors and friends have told me that I had some people make some posts for me to try and drum up some attention to my YouTube channel, but they all look like old BitConnect scams. So everyone's like, they're like, oh, I get these scams, and then I realize it's you. So check me out all over the place. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Check me out on LinkedIn, and subscribe and hit the bell, and then you'll know when I finally do my once a month tech talks or whatever I jump on. So yeah, follow us all. Appreciate that everyone that was on stream today. You guys are what make this community really awesome. So thanks again, and have a great night, Hexicans. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Night,
Bye,
everybody.
y'all. See ya.